Would you like to know how to maximize the effects in your life and get more benefits from your efforts? Aloha, I'm Greg Pentecost with Getting to Escrow, where we help real estate agents master their time, their income, and their prosperity. And this week we've been talking about goals. And today, in specific, we're going to be talking about rewards. It's not a topic a whole lot of people bring up. But as you'll see today, it's, I think, one of the things I think that is most important. So we started the week talking about what goals are and why they're important. Then we moved on from there and we discussed areas in your life that you may want to set goals and how to select areas that are most appropriate for you. And then yesterday, on Friday, we talked about the smart way to set goals, literally the acronym SMART, S-M-A-R-T. And today we're going to talk about rewards. And this is something that I've found to be kind of like a hidden secret to making life better, not just having goals. And so let's start off with that. And I want to share with you a conversation that I've had for years in my mind. And I didn't quite understand why, what was going on. But throughout time, it was an important conversation to have because it's led me to the things I'm going to share today. So let me ask you is, I used to have this, I knew that I needed to reward myself because, hey, aren't we always being told that when we do something, we should reward ourselves and so on? And I always had the debate in my head of, should I reward myself? I mean, should I really? I mean, shouldn't just, and there's a lot of guilt that goes into this, so you may relate. And there goes my notes. So you may relate with that. But it deals with, shouldn't I just be able to relish in my accomplishment? Shouldn't my accomplishment be enough of a reward in and of itself? Well, I mean, it's already pretty good, right? And, I'm feeling pretty good about that. And shouldn't that be enough? Well, let's look at the matter in a different way, okay? I'm going to put my notes back up here because I want to make sure that now when we accomplish something, okay, and we feel pretty good about it, I'm just going to go without my notes because this is a topic that really means a lot to me. So in my head, it was always about shouldn't I go ahead and reward myself or not? And there was a lot of guilt around it about not rewarding myself. Don't get too up. Don't get too on yourself. Don't think too much of yourself. And I'm sure that I'm not the only person who's ever been told that. And that was always a big concern of keeping myself small and so on. And but then an interesting habit happened, and I in this conversation in my mind over time, I started looking at what was really happening with me. And what was really happening is if I'm not rewarding myself, well, then I get the reward, I don't get the reward. I get the goal, but after the goal, I don't really get anything else. So there's nothing necessarily to hang on to except for the moment of accomplishment or the moments of accomplishment. But then I'd want something. Or I'd get back into the struggle because, let's be honest here. If you're setting serious and solid goals, they're not easy to attain. They're not something. It's not like going to a bookstore and buying a book, okay? Because you're working for it. It might be reading the book and then implementing everything that's in that book. And as we know, if you've ever read a book that has types of things like that in it, there's a lot to do. Like they might outline a single step and it might take them 3 or 4 pages and then you have 3 or 4 days worth of work to get done. And that's a 200, 300 page book. So there's a lot of work to do. And some of that work, a lot of that work can be struggling. Not difficult. Well, struggling is optional, but it's not always easy. It's stuff that we have to work at. And so what I would do is in these times when I would be challenged, I wouldn't be feeling so great about myself because I'm like, am I able to accomplish this? Am I actually able to do this? Am I able to, I don't know, maybe I can't. And so what I'd want to do is I'd want some reassurance. And then I'd end up, inevitably, as I'm not the only person on the planet to do, when I'm in a funk, going and looking for ways to reward myself. And so I would buy something. I may not sound so bad, right? Retail therapy. But here's the thing is that if I'm in a funk and I buy something, how do you think I feel when I get it? I don't know how you feel if you've ever done that. I know how I felt. Now I felt as if I purchased something when I wasn't at my best. And now I didn't even know if I deserved it. And so I felt bad about that as well. So now I've got this, I'm in a funk, okay, or I'm struggling, and now I go by myself, and now I'm not sure if I'm deserving of that reward all by its, in and of itself. And so now we've got the added guilt on top of that. So what do you think happens? You think all of a sudden just magically I get out of it? Or do you think that becomes a cycle? A downward cycle, a self-defeating cycle, where all of a sudden now I'm feeling worse, and so what do? I go buy myself something, and now I feel horrible about that, so now I've got two things, so now I feel even more horrible, and now I'm not getting stuff done on the things that I'm actually working on because I feel so horrible. And it continued. But there's a way to reverse this, and that's what when we started the video, that's what I'm talking about. Because if we look at that, and I'm having this conversation in my head about rewards, let's reverse it. Let's say we go ahead and now we accomplish a goal, we do something and it is phenomenal. Okay, or we get an award or recognized for something that we didn't even know. Well, what's going to happen is that moment, while it feels great in the moment, that moment is going to pass. And when it passes, what are we going to have to hold on to? This is where rewarding yourself becomes so important. Because what happens is now you go ahead and you reward yourself. You do something for yourself. It's wonderful to go ahead and get, yay, this is my thing. But now, reward yourself. Something that's meaningful to you, not just the reward, not just the goal itself, because it's wonderful to accomplish the goal. But let's give ourselves something. Let's reward ourselves. As we reward ourselves, now, bit by bit, we start, goal after goal, we start surrounding ourselves with our symbols of prosperity. The symbols of the things that we can do. The symbols of the things we have done. The symbols of our victories. The symbols of the things that, the best part of ourselves, who we are and what we're meant to be. That's what we start to surround ourselves with. And so now when we get to that time of struggle, because it's going to happen, you're going after goals, you're going after big goals, these things are going to happen. You're going to have those days where you're not feeling so great. And that's okay. It's part of the process. It's part of getting to where we want to go. But now, when we look around ourselves and be like, I accomplished that. I did that. And all these things start reminding us of better times, of times where we felt good, of times where we accomplished something, of times where we were recognized for something. And now as we look around ourselves, it's very different. Instead of looking around ourselves and saying, man, I was in a horrible place and I can't believe I bought that. Now we can be like, oh my gosh, I so deserved that. I did this and I rewarded myself. It was an amazing time. And we can take ourselves back to the times, those amazing times of accomplishment and goal achievement. That being said, let's be clear on how we're going to set how we're going to reward ourselves. And so we want to have some rules as we reward ourselves, because we want the rules to be appropriate, and we want we want the rewards to be appropriate. We don't want them to be too big, too small, and so on. So let's start off with number one. Make sure that your rewards, whatever you're going to reward yourself with, doesn't contradict your goals. You know, everyone's, and I think we're all guilty of this at some point in our life. We're like, yeah, I worked out 5 days in a row. I'm going to go have like an entire pizza. Or maybe, a quart of Haagen-Dazs or Ben & Jerry's or whatever it is. Can you see how that is in direct conflict with the goal that we set? If we're going to lose weight, that's the goal. Okay? Yeah, especially if you're going to have have a quart of ice cream right before you go to bed. Because then your body has no other choice other than to turn it into the stuff we're trying to get rid of to begin with. So, number one, make sure that your goals are not your rewards are not contradicting your goals. It might be a food-related item. It might be something but make sure that it is built into the goal. Make sure you're working out extra. Or let's say you saved $1,000, now you want to go spend $200. Well, as long as it's part of the plan, don't set that after the fact. Plan your rewards. Pardon me. 2, plan your rewards so that you can do this. Planning is important. I actually have a sheet where I have rewards that I want to give myself and kind of levels of how big they are so that they can match up with the next one. And that way what I can do is I can go ahead and oftentimes I'll have the goal achieved and the reward that I'm going to give myself. That way what happens is now I know that the goal is, I know what they are. I can plan them. And it really helps align these things. It really helps surround myself with the things that, the things that, as I'm looking around my room, my office, and I'm looking at the things and I'm like, wow, I did this for that and I did that for that. And it's a very different sense of things. So plan your rewards. Next, ensure that the rewards are appropriate to the size and type of goal. And yesterday we talked about A, B, and C level goals. And, an A level goal is, something you have, it's risky. It's something you have no idea how you're going to do, but you're going to do it. Right? That would give yourself a pretty good goal. But if you're doing like a C level goal, which would be like picking your kids up from school on Tuesday and you do it every other day of the week, and it's not really a big deal, you don't get to buy yourself a guitar or something amazing every day. That's just not in proportion. So make sure that your goals or your rewards are appropriate to the size of the goal and the type of the goal. Okay? So I think I've covered pretty much everything I wanted to share today. My notes have gone out the window, so I'm not sure exactly where I'm at with everything. But let's cover where we're at. Number one, yes, reward yourself for your successes, your wins, and your goal accomplishments, okay? Number 2, plan your goals. Plan your goals. Have a way to plan them and track them so that you can stay on track. Next, we want to go ahead. We want to make sure that your rewards do not contradict your goals. Next, we want to ensure that our rewards are appropriate to the size and type of the goals that we're setting and achieving. By the way, if you like what you're hearing, you enjoy this type of content, please join the Getting Dash Grow Facebook group. Like this video, share it, subscribe, whatever your options are that are appropriate for you. But yes, join us in the Getting Dash Grow Facebook group. Today or tomorrow, we're going to go ahead and we're going to wrap this all up, put it together in a little package, and talk about it. Bring everything that we've done and how I put this all into a package where I call it Greg's Life Plan. And it is where I keep this and a lot of, all the tools that we've talked about and a lot of other things. And so we'll kind of flush out each of the items that we've talked about this week in a little bit more detail. In an aspect that we haven't talked about already this week. And then we'll put it together in a way that you can actually use it on an everyday basis to make a huge difference and impact in your life. And then we'll also talk about where we're going into next week, because it's actually dovetails right on the goals topic of this week. So anyway, I hope you're having an amazing day, and I look forward to talking with you soon. Mahalo.